to get through the tie. It's no good them playing for a draw here and hoping they can pinch it at Highbury.
Well, there you are, the lads are coming out onto the field. It's a full house here at Selhurst Park this afternoon. The danger men, Jack, who do you see as the potential goal scorers?
Well, I've always been a great fan of Paul Merson's, and obviously Ian Wright will score goals. But I always fancy Merson. He always looks dangerous and he always gets in positions to score goals. I haven't seen too much of Crystal Palace, but Palace, Eddie McGoldrick seems to be scoring a lot of headers at Crystal Palace.
He's one of your men.
He's one of my lads, and I haven't seen him head a ball in a practice match with us yet, never mind score goals. But he keeps slipping up, and Eddie may be the difference today if he gets in there and has a header. But with Tony Adams in, I like Tony Adams in the Arsenal setup. It gives him that extra strength that they need.
OK, Jack, let's hand over now to our commentary team, Ron Atkinson. But first, as usual, it's Brian Moore.
Good afternoon, Saints. Good afternoon, everybody. First job again is to give you the two teams, starting with Crystal Palace. Nigel Martin in goal. Number 2, Lee Sinnott. 3, Richard Shaw. 4, Chris Coleman. 5, Eric Young. 6, Andy Thorne. 7, Simon Osborne. 8, Jeff Thomas, the captain. 9, Bobby Bowery. 10, Simon Roger. And 11, Eddie McGoldrick. An interesting formation. McGoldrick just in front of the back four. 3 in the midfield. Bowery, Thomas and Roger, with Osborne just in front of them and Coleman alone up front. And the question is, of course, who will look after Arsenal's Ian Wright? My information is that it's going to be Eddie McGoldrick, the man who has been chosen now to dog Wright's every step this afternoon. What a task it is for Eddie, but he's a tough competitor, as Jack was saying, a Republic of Ireland international, and he holds the key, have no mistake about that. Well, what about Arsenal? Here's their team lineup. They've got David Seaman in goal, number 2 Lee Dixon, 3 Nigel Winterburn, 4 back after injury David Hillier, 5 Andy Linnigan, 6 Tony Adams, 7 Ian Selly, 8 Ian Wright, 9 Alan Smith, 10 Paul Merson and 11 Kevin Campbell. So David Hillier returns to the side that beat Leeds on Wednesday. Ian Selly keeps his place in the midfield. Kevin Campbell makes it a powerful Arsenal strike force alongside Wright and Merson. Let's just check on the substitutes for both sides. For Crystal Palace, it's George Endar and Grant Watts, both 18-year-olds. And for Arsenal, it'll be Steve Morrow and Jimmy Carter. And in the centre, the referee is John Martin from Alton in Hampshire. Referee and linesman in very smart new sponsored purple outfits. Ron Atkinson. Terrific atmosphere, good pitch, although of course Wimbledon played on it yesterday, but it looks as though it's bedded down well.
Yes, we were here last Wednesday and we played on the pitch, no complaints at all, good surface. Taking up the point there, you know, we're talking about Eddie McGoldrick with Ian Wright. I think we might see Jeff Thomas snapping at the heels of Paul Merson a little bit as well. I think I've talked to Steve Coppell before the game, Brian, and no matter what, like Big Jack's just said, make no mistake, he's going to try and stifle up Europe. That's for sure.
There's no doubt that Arsenal have got the resilience and the strength and the quality and experience to win here today. But Palace have got the spirit of a young side that have already put the likes of Liverpool and Chelsea out of this competition. And Andy Thorne was saying to me only a couple of days ago, we really fancy our chances here this afternoon. Well, let's see. It's a throw straight away to Arsenal in their away strip of yellow. And Lee Dixon with the throw for them. It really is a question of how these Palace youngsters can deal with this day and with the opposition, of course, and above all, how they can deal with Ian Wright. Dixon knocking it forward towards Alan Smith. Noticeable that Andy Thorne is right alongside Smith. Dixon knocking it in. McGoldrick there, right at the back. Being pursued by Campbell, but still gets it away. Right at the moment being picked up by Eric Young. Dixon then with a throw for Arsenal. Semi-final over 2 legs. The winners go through to Wembley. Blackburn and Sheffield Wednesday, the other semi-finalists. Lee knocking it in. Lee Dixon knocking it in for other. Campbell trying to get the header in. Hillier knocking it back. Merson with a little touch. Frantic opening minutes here. Shaw just getting it away, but not very far. Young rising to get that one away. Roger on a good left foot gets it away only as far as Dixon. Early pressure here from Arsenal. Knocked away again by Shaw. Important that Palace survive these sort of moments. And a foul there by young Bowery on Merson, giving Arsenal a free kick in a dangerous area, and testing moments these indeed for the young Crystal Palace side. Terrific Arsenal support here. Winterburn, and a long cross knocked in there, and Thomas got in very well there, just as Adams was making a great break towards the far post. For a moment that looked very ominous indeed, Ron Atkinson.
Marvellous defending that by Jeff Thomas. Adams has crept right round the back on the free kick and looked, from my point of view, I thought he was stitched on to get ahead on this one, and it's a good lunging foot there. He's kept them in the game there.
Merson's corner again. Coleman gets that one away, again without great conviction. Winterburn playing it wide. It's all Arsenal here at the moment. Merson crossing it much deeper this time. Linegan knocking it in, and Nigel Martyn gets his first touch of the ball, and a chance for Palace to breathe just a little after that.
Yes, Andy Thorne is picking up Smith. I think Eric Young's got a problem. Apparently Steve said he was going to try and use him as a spare man at the heart of the defence, playing behind McGoldrick and Thorne as markers, but he doesn't look too happy when crosses are being put in at him. I always feel that Eric Young likes to have a big centre forward stood against him, and I don't think he likes to be the spare man himself.
Winterburn making the break. Coleman trying to stop him. It's a Palace throw. Well, if Palace play as they did here last weekend against Tottenham when they were ripped apart by the Spurs, there's no hope for them. If they can play as they did, obviously, in winning at Blackburn on Tuesday night, then Arsenal might well have a handful.
I think it's also fair to say they'll play very similar to the way they played against Liverpool here in the same competition, Brian. They'll stifle, they'll try and make it very, very hard for Arsenal and see if they can sneak a result. I mean, they're not at this moment in time, they're just committing Coleman, and sometimes he gets support from the little fella Osborne. He sometimes gets up there, but they're not committing too many men forward at all.
David Seaman with the clearance for Arsenal. Knocked on there by Hillier. Simon Roger with a header, but it's a throw again to Arsenal. Merson being shadowed by Thomas. Linesman's given the throw to Arsenal. Winding up a long one, Lee Dixon. Towards the near post, Linegan tried to get to it, but there was a bit of shoving by Linegan apparently on Lee Sinnott.
Yes, I should think George Graham's sitting there thinking if Crystal Palace are going to play this way, that's very, very important from the Arsenal's point of view that Winterburn and Dixon take full advantage and bomb forward. You know, and that'll suit the Arsenal game plan, loading crosses in from wide areas. Because at the moment, there's obviously no Crystal Palace player wide at all, is there?
Not at the moment. Roger normally comes out much wider than this. It's a break on. Goldrick there getting it back to Martyn. Up goes Coleman again. It's a lone roll up there for the big Welshman. It's Coleman. Roger battling in the air there with Selly. Coleman. Winterburn onto the left foot, gets it away. Campbell knocking it towards right, but McGoldrick in quickly again for Palace.
He's a very useful player for Steve Coppell to have around there, isn't he, Eddie McGoldrick? Sometimes plays wide, scores goals, can play as a second striker, play as a sweeper, and now this is a role I've never seen him do before, a man-marking job.
I feel sometimes here he's a little diffident as a winger, you know, although I think Jack plays him in that sort of role for the Republic of Ireland, but they say he almost undergoes a personality change when he goes into this sort of position. He becomes very much more dogged and determined in everything he does. Good tackler. Shaw knocking a long ball in, but far too high for Coleman. Flanagan. Winterburn couldn't keep it in play.
What it does do, of course, these tactics by Crystal Palace, it virtually means Arsenal are playing as if they're playing in a home match. You know, they're being asked to make the game, to charge the game. And I would think, if I was George Graham, I'd be very happy with that.
I think you're right, Ron. I think Palace's attitude is they want to hang on in there. They feel that Arsenal are the superior outfit. They want to hang on in there and hope that they can survive here and also do something in the second leg at Highbury, which comes up early next month. And here they go again. It's Kevin Campbell. Young is holding off him for a moment, but he better not hold off too long. Good work. Good save by Martin. A scorching run by Campbell. Barry couldn't quite get a foot on that one. Smith. Here's Dixon. Here come Arsenal again. There's the cross. McGoldrick just got a foot to that and deflected it away from Alan Smith. Winterburn crossing it in again. McGoldrick looking to beat right in the air. Shaw tucking it in. Thorne getting it away. And you have to say at this moment it looks fairly ominous for Crystal Palace. Arsenal making all the running.
Yes, well, I mean, somebody like Lee Dixon, for argument's sake, loves wading forward and
Selly shot well wide.
loves coming forward, Brian, and particularly if there's no pressure on him. I mean, we've seen in games, if you've got to have a chance against the Arsenal, I think you've got to try and attack their back four. You've got to try and turn the back four and play little balls between them and thread them through, because there's a shortage of possible pace at the heart of their defence.
This run of Campbell's as well, they held off him so long, and again I think the point you were making is that Eric Young didn't really quite know what to do with him.
Yeah, I mean, I actually think then Campbell, it was a good effort. I think Campbell could have knocked it past Young on the outside, you know, and ran virtually on an empty goal.
9 minutes gone in this Coca-Cola semi-final first leg. Crystal Palace 0, Arsenal 0. Thorne, Bowery, little touch by Osborne. Here's Coleman. Thomas has gone well forwards. Still with Coleman. The cross coming in. Dixon knocking it away. And he was as far as Simon Roger. Scored with a scorching shot at Blackburn. His first goal for the club in midweek.
Yeah, the encouraging thing there was as soon as they made the break up the right-hand side, all of a sudden 5 or 6 red and blue shirts appeared in the Arsenal defence, on top of the Arsenal defence.
Campbell winning it quite comfortably in the air, and they allowed Wright to go through here. McGoldrick's closing very quickly on him. He's given a penalty. The foul by McGoldrick on Wright.
Yes, no question. No question, I don't think there, Brian. I think there's a little bit of hesitancy in the heart of the Palace defence, and we just see Wright here.
That's where the hesitancy was,
Yeah.
just there, just for a moment.
Yeah, he reads it perfectly well, and it's a lunging tackle, all right. There may be a suggestion that he's taken a lead, but he's been pulled down there.
Penalty for Arsenal. 10 minutes of the game gone. The man who scored so many for Palace has now got one for Arsenal here. Ian Wright on the score sheet. We're saying this week, we don't know how we're going to handle him. That's in open play. There was no way you can handle him from that range from the penalty spot. Nigel Martin with no chance at all. The perfect penalty. Ian Wright puts Arsenal 1 up.
Great penalty. I'm just wondering whether Eddie McGoldrick may have been a little bit more patient in his challenge and possibly tried to edge Wright away from goal.
Sinnott with a header. Lost only one of their last 8. They're on a good run. You only have to look at their performances in both those matches against Leeds, where in both of them they looked as though they could have been out of it. They really are men of steel. And now they've got their noses in front here, and they're going to be so difficult to shake off.
Yes, I bet they can't believe they've come into a semi-final of a major tournament, though, and been allowed the initiative to be handed to them like they have. Particularly, as you say, after the high-pressure game they had in midweek.
Well, here's a free kick for them again. Lee Dixon with it. Ian Wright poised. Alan Smith poised. Hillier's made a little run across the penalty area. And in the end, they play it short for Campbell. Costing once more towards Wright. That time, Palace got it away. Smith. There was a mistake by Shaw. He was so close to being punished for it.
Quite honestly, Brian, if they don't stop this flow of crosses coming into the box, this could be anything, you know. This could be out of sight by half-time. I mean, they've got plenty of bodies in midfield. There we go now. Nigel Martin. No, not a prayer. Not a prayer.
Ian Wright takes the penalty. Finnegan's jump, beating Coleman, but beating him unfairly. A free kick. Arsenal have already won here by 2 goals to 1 in November in the Premier League. They beat Palace twice last season by 4-1, home and away. As Steve Popper was saying before the starts, in 7 meetings since Palace went into the top league, they have never won against Arsenal. Lost 5 and drawn 2. McGoldrick with a shot. Well, that wasn't a bad one. Not a lot to work on there for McGoldrick, but he hit it firmly enough.
Struck it well, yes. I think the big Seaman had it covered, didn't he? But nevertheless, a good effort.
Thorne with the free kick for Palace. Arsenal leading 1-0 if you just joined us. Up towards Coleman. Big Chris Coleman, of course, a defender really for most of his career. Rest into service as a front man now. He's certainly a wholehearted, full-hearted guy, but you just get the impression with Coleman that maybe he looks like a defender playing up front sometimes. Here's Merson.
I've seen him when he's been particularly effective with a partner up there, though. He's got a fair turn of pace,
well, he's
good left side, and he can get down through the old-fashioned inside left gully, if you like. But today he's like Lone Ranger, isn't he? He's having to run the whole of the Arsenal back four.
Well, I think you come here on Wednesday night as well, don't you?
That's right, yes.
I think when Chris Armstrong available for the Coca-Cola Cup, but he'll be playing alongside Coleman then they are a different proposition.
Thank you very much, Brian. Thanks for those few kind words. Yeah, I mean, Steve's got a problem. He's got little Paul Williams is out injured as well. Obviously the other boys, Armstrong's cup tied, so you know, that has affected his thinking. He's had to be a little bit careful in his thinking, but he can't be too careful, or the game will be out of sight for him.
Kick hidden towards Coleman. Roger. Can Osborne get in? Well, they get a corner.
Yes, I should think that was part of his thinking, is as many set plays as they can, and hope that this is where they can create something from.
Simon Roger will take it. Andy Thorne's up at the near post. Big Eric Young's in there as well, so there's no lack of height at that near post for the flick on. Coleman waiting, and Thomas also waiting to launch themselves as Palace go looking now for this equaliser. That came off Campbell. It'll be another corner. Andy Thorne being watched by Merson. In again, Merson in fact hitting it back towards Eric Young and then getting it away. Goldrick beating right in the air. Richard Shaw playing it wide for Lee Sinnott. Adams. No nonsense about that.
Yeah, he's going to be important to them today, Jeff Thomas. I mean, not only did the responsibility of trying to quieten Merson down. But it's up to him to make some of those buccaneering support runs and getting himself into the box alongside Coleman.
Missed the game at Blackburn on Tuesday, did number 8, Jeff Thomas. Had a nasty eye injury against Spurs here last week. The specialist told him he ought to rest for a few days. Bit of bruising behind the eye. Seaman well out of his goal with that one. Shaw trying to knock it back. Coleman. Also Simon Osborne. Bobby Barry's made a good break for him as well. Osborne, dogged little run, gets the free kick as well.
This little Bowery showed some fair pace then, didn't he? But that's the first time a midfield player, I think, has got ahead of the striker.
Osborne. Simon Roger with a left foot. He's got a really good left foot. He's an excellent crosser of a ball, this lad. Cost £1,400 from Bognor Regis, people at Shoreham down in Sussex. Alongside Simon Osborne, who cost nothing, and Bobby Bowery, who cost nothing. It's a midfield, basically, 3 of the midfield there, who cost Palace the princely sum of £1,400. Mind you, to be fair, Arsenal with the likes of David Hillier and Ian Selly haven't exactly cost a fortune, have they?
And Paul Merson.
And Paul Merson.
Yeah, I was just thinking, that's £1,400 more than the Arsenal.
Lenigan chasing back, Seaman just out of his penalty area, then dodged back in again as he had to, as Coleman came towards him. 90 minutes gone. Crystal Palace 0, Arsenal 1. Hillier. Here's Merson. Plenty of yellow shirts waiting in the middle. That came off Sinnott for the corner to Arsenal.
Great run from Merson from midfield. He noticed that Sinnott had gone a little bit in advance to try and get closer to Dixon and took full advantage. Sinnott actually did quite well to charge the cross down.
Adams up at the near post. Palace need to be vigilant here again. It's flicked on and knocked over by Lenigan. You get the feeling if that had fallen for Wright or Merson or Campbell there, although it was Merson took the corner, of course, rather than the big defender, that might have well been number 2.
Yeah, but he should have scored then, shouldn't he? It's worked like a treat. They've got the nick on. He's in space, leaning back. It's a skyer. That is an absolute, well, not a sitter, but it's a quality chance.
Campbell. Shaw just got the boot in there. Winterburn. Back it goes to David Seaman.
That might tell Palace something. Even the slightest bit of pressure, you can sometimes get something out of. But if they're just going to sit off the Arsenal back four and put the keeper under no pressure, then Arsenal can pace the game the way they want it.
I didn't see their game here against Liverpool, but that really was so much of their game against Chelsea, who were flying at the time. They got an excellent start with an early goal from Chris Coleman that night, but I mean, they absolutely tore into everything and took the battle to Chelsea.
Yeah, I mean, you get the impression, rightly or wrongly, whether it's that record of past years, that they do seem as if they feel a little bit possibly giving the Arsenal too much respect. You know, whereas if they charge forward a little bit more and trod on a few toes and I mean that in the nicest possible way, and pressurise the likes of Dixon and Winterburn and don't allow them a free time.
George Graham there, he'll not be unhappy with the way things are going.
Well, he'll be chuffed.
And really all credit to both the managers here. They've both been prepared to throw youngsters into this particular battle. I mean, they may have had it forced on them. White is away again. This could be another one. Oh! It's in there. Alan Smith has made it 2. Well, that was tough in a way for Palace, because you felt that Nigel Martyn had at least thwarted isolated right with that challenge there.
That's a magnificent tackle. I mean, Nigel Martin's so unfortunate, but a great finish from Alan Smith. And once again, it's the man right, isn't it? That man right come through them and completely exploited them. They were caught very, very square, and he timed his run to perfection here. And then once he's through there, you know, the keeper has done brilliant. But that's a spotter's badge for Alan Smith. Great, great finish.
McGoldrick with the free kick for Crystal Palace, the leaguered side now with only 21 minutes of this Coca-Cola semi-final first leg gone.
Wonder if Stevie will dispense with that. Just say to McGoldrick, get yourself in front of the midfield and start driving the game. Because at the moment, it's not really working, is it? It's not working at all at the moment. I mean, the defence looks all over the show a little bit. Young doesn't quite know who to pick up. I mean, he got caught in the middle of the through ball there. Whether it'd be better going to say, look, that's our basic defence. Now let McGoldrick put some spice into the attacking areas of the field. Because at the moment, Brian, sorry, they're just waiting for defeat.
Bowery. A little touch for Shaw.
But he is a menace right, isn't he? I mean, he's moving, just watching him off the ball, he's never still. He takes up a position, McGoldrick goes with him, then he switches to another position, so McGoldrick's having to concentrate. And, you know, that's a very hard job for an experienced man-to-man marker.
Coleman shot. Straight in the midrib of David Seaman. Andy Thorne as Palace now look for a crumb of comfort somewhere. This grey and barren afternoon for them. A goal kick for Arsenal.
Big test for some of the young boys now. 2-0 down in a semi-final. You know, the test is big enough if they were all square with Arsenal, but to be 2 down on their own ground at this stage.
Terrific test for the older heads as well to keep the boat afloat now, isn't it? Roger. Osborne. Hillier knocking it forward towards Smith. Alan Smith, who's not really had the most productive of seasons, but an important first goal in that cup tie at Leeds the other night. And now one that really seals an excellent start for Arsenal here at Selhurst Park this afternoon. It's only his 4th of the season. Hillier. Dixon. Merson. Adams. Selly. Nice control. Finds Smith with the ball. Smith to Winterburn. Palace just can't get a hold of it at the moment. And there's a foul by Shaw and Campbell. That'll be a free kick. So Linegan's up there again. Adams, needless to say, is in there again. Merson will whip one of these deadly free kicks in once more. Linegan came off Sinnott for a moment there, and in the end put away into touch by Eric Young. Little shove by McGoldrick on Smith, it appeared to me. At any rate, it's a corner for Arsenal.
I think you're right there. This justice, isn't it? It was a foul there. But Eddie McGoldrick must be wondering what's hit him. I mean, Wright's movement has been...
He's all over the place, Wright. He is everywhere.
He brings him to one side of the pitch, runs him to the other. Very instrumental. He's lost him for the 2 goals.
Merson now. Put away by Young. Put away by Ogden. Winterburn crossing it in again. Campbell. In goes Young. Barry. Sinnott. Thorne. Well, a handball given there. Poor old Alan Smith. I mean, the ball was actually crashed at him at about 1.5 yards range. But maybe a little bit of sustenance here for Crystal Palace. Eddie McGoldrick with the free kick for them. Young's in there, Coleman's in there, Thorne's up there, Thomas is right in there too. Rogers not far off. Towards Coleman. Palace fans screaming for a penalty for the foul on Chris Coleman. John Martin, the referee, so experienced, didn't see it that way at all.
Now this is a standard ploy, a straight ball into the box, crowd scene going on and bodies jostling. I think referee's spot on.
Absolutely right. Here's Mercer. One of those strong runs of his down that left flank. Campbell's offside. Amazing goal scoring record of Ian Wright. In his time here, he scored in 187 games, no fewer than 117 goals. He was their top scorer last season at Arsenal with 26, and now he's got 20 already this season. Whereas Alan Smith has scored only 10 goals in 66 appearances since Wright's arrival, but his contribution, you have to say, is far greater than those statistics would make you believe.
I think there's a very real feeling in the Arsenal camp that they're at their most effective with Alan Smith's in the side. You know, doing that target job, holding up little flick-ons with his head, bringing midfield players back into play. I mean, those are the things that other players appreciate.
Thorne with the free kick for Crystal Palace. Coleman got his head to that one. And here's Lee Dixon. Stopped by Sinnott. Just coming towards the half-hour mark. And Arsenal leading by 2-0 here. Ian Wright from the penalty spot after 10. Alan Smith after a break by Wright after 20. Dixon. That's a goal kick.
I would think it's decision time on the Palace bench now. I would feel that they've got to go to a flat back four, widen the game a little bit and try and stop Dixon and Winterburn building up attacks on them.
Well, that's probably what's very much in Steve Coppell's mind at the moment.
But to do that, he's got to push McGoldrick into a more orthodox position. So he's playing with. Well, let's see.
Here's Campbell chasing again. Merson alongside him. And a goal kick.
Yeah, I mean, his midfield players, he's got plenty of bodies in midfield at Palace, but they're so narrow that any time Arsenal switch play, they can come out with their fullbacks for fun. And as I said at the onset, you know, Brian, Dixon's at his best coming forward, isn't he?
Yes.
There is a suspicion that defensively he's got problems. Winterburn loves raiding forward. And they'll do that all day. They won't need any encouragement if the space is there to go into.
Two substitutes, Crystal Palace, are both 18-year-olds, but one of them, George Endar, is quite a talented player down the left-hand side, plays wide. It might well be he who would get the nod, but at the moment it's Osborne who's laid a nice little ball off here to Roger, and down on the left now is the fullback Lee Sinnott.
Those are the positions there where Lee Sinnott was, where you want somebody to, you know, he's got Lee Dixon 1v1 to have a go at him, try and get in behind him and play balls in behind the back of the defence.
Up to Coleman. But Adams once again like a rock there for Arsenal. And Wright flashing in the air. And Wright laid out by that challenge. Thorne also is feeling it a bit as well. Two physios, Gary Lewin of Arsenal and David West of Palace quickly on, and John Martin used to say when there's a head injury involved you've got to get the physios on quickly.
That was a big brave challenge from Ian Wright then, wasn't it? I mean, a lot of strikers may have just let Andy Thorne clear that one out, but he's prepared, determined not to let him have it cheaply. He actually won the header by the look of it as well.
And very sportingly now, making sure Wright's on his feet, he's okay. Making sure that Andy Thorne, an old buddy of his here, of course, in his Palace days, that Thorne is okay. There's George Ender, I was telling about. Jimmy Carter, one of the Arsenal subs on the right, who began his career here as an apprentice, and Grant Watts, the other Palace substitute on the left. Those two Palace substitutes, both 18 years old.
I mean, that is a problem for Steve, isn't it? It's a problem, like kids on the bench in a game as vital as this.
McGoldrick with a long free kick. Young couldn't get ahead on it, neither could Coleman. Hillier with a long ball looking for Wright. But it's McGoldrick's pushing header back to Nigel Martyn.
That was brilliant, that. He saw Wright had just dropped off for the anticipated header back into the back, and that's cool. Very good, that McGoldrick. He'll need that, by the way. That'll have done him a bit of good.
It's Winterburn now on the far side for Arsenal.
A little bit unreal as well for a semi-final, isn't it? The two goals, the way Arsenal have completely dominated the game, Brian. It's taken any electricity out of the afternoon. And I think there's an air of inevitability about the thing, isn't it?
It needs a big contribution now from Palace, doesn't it, to recreate that electricity.
I mean, sometimes in a two-leg game, you tend to say, all right, don't panic, we've got another hour and a half at their place, another second half to play. But I definitely think Palace have somehow or other, and I don't know how they're going to do it really, apart from pushing people forward, they've got to try and charge the game. Got to try and make something happen. They must get back to 2-1.
Barry shrugged off the ball there by Smith. Merson just slipping it wide, but Sennett picks this up. There's Thomas. By Sennett. Into Thomas again, couldn't gather it up. Roger takes it instead. Now it's McGoldrick. Forward there to Osborne. Turning. Thomas alongside him. On the far side is Coleman. Merson picking it up. Nice little turn there. Beats Thorne to the ball. Campbell. So much power in his running. Mike just playing it off for Hillier. Winterburn. Hillier playing it in and Roger getting it away.
This is it. They can try them out from both sides of the field, can they? Just switch the play. Look at the picture. If they don't want to go forward now, they can just keep passing the ball about and come out on the other side now.
Ian Selly playing it wide to Nigel Winterburn for Arsenal. He's got a good left foot on him. It was, they know, up in Scarborough. It was Winterburn shot up there that put Arsenal through on that foggy night up in the northeast. That time Nigel Martyn well able to deal with it. It's Shaw now for Crystal Palace.
That's the only danger to Arsenal, I would say, at the moment. It's that comfortable for them that they all of a sudden, I know it sounds daft in the semi-final, become a little bit, not bored, but a little bit complacent and lose concentration, because it really, really is easy for them. I mean, I'm watching players there, Hillier, for argument's sake, who I was thinking of it just a sitting midfield player, going out and expressing himself in wide positions and just enjoying it, doing a few tricks.
Hillier there, all playing a simple ball this time to Dixon. Space here for Ian Selly. Almost hit a fine ball there for Campbell, just cut away though by Sinnott. Young with a header for Crystal Palace, up for Thomas. In goes Linnigan. Hillier gets it wide to Winterburn. Absolutely bossing it from first to last at the moment, Arsenal. Merson giving the ball away there, and then has time enough to get it Winterburn. Wright plays it here for Dixon.
I mean, you'd think 2-0 up semi-final, he'd be content with that, but I would think that George Brown would be saying, hey, we can win, that we can put these out of sight today.
Just noticed Steve Coppell running down the steps from the director's box to the bench. Maybe something will be changed very shortly. Standing at the bench there now. What do we do, lads? Well, he's got Endar, one substitute, who can play wide. Grant Watts, who's a quick little striker, who can go up in support of Coleman. Moment, you maybe think they might even need to play 13. Campbell. Delicate little touch from the big man. Selly. Not such a good ball by him.
I mean, what's also happening, the very fact that Eddie McGoldrick's following Ian Wright all over the show, is Big Young is getting pulled into some positions that I wouldn't think he fancies at all. I mean, I always see him, the big fella on the ball now, as one of those big old-fashioned centre-halves that wants to stand up and fight and, you know, battle it out. Now, at the moment, because he's got nobody to mark, he's all over the place, really. Where they might be as well to say, let's get that flat back four again, get a midfield four, and then give a support player up to Coleman.
Dixon to Campbell in so much space again for Arsenal. Right shot charged down by Young that time. Campbell wins it back. It's with David Hillier. Campbell again. It came off Sinnott. Rogers' left foot gets it away only as far as Linnigan. Arsenal turning the screw again as Dixon comes down this flank. And they get a corner. No, it must have rebounded again off Dixon. Okay.
That's one of the problems as well, just having Coleman up the field. Every loose clearance is being picked up by an Arsenal player because there's a line of four and it's virtually 1 against 4, so the odds are that it's going to fall, any loose clearance is going to fall to an Arsenal player, and consequently they can keep the attack on.
Roger. Osborne. So what you're saying is take McGoldrick out of the back and put him on the left side of midfield?
I'd either put him on the left side or pull Osborne out this way and say, go on, occupy Dixon. Don't let Dixon come out the hole. Somebody go and occupy Winterburn, and even play him alongside Thomas, the two most experienced players. Say, come on, let's see if we can pick the game up in midfield.
Well, here's McGoldrick with the free kick for Crystal Palace. Osborne turning it in again. Young is right in there. But there are plenty of willing Arsenal boots to get that one away. A little flick on by Thomas. Easy through once again for Seaman.
I can see Steve's problem in as much as he probably feels that Thorne and Big Young, against the pace of Ian Wright, might be a problem, because neither Thorne or Young are the quickest. But I think that it's gone past that now. The game has gone past that. Somehow or other, they've got to get themselves back into it. And the only way they can do is really to carry the fight now to the Arsenal. If they sit and wait, they're going to get murdered, aren't they? Well, they're getting murdered now. That, you know, it's going to be... Would be embarrassing.
Here's Winterburn. A shot by Thomas, a free kick for Arsenal. 5 minutes to go to half-time. Crystal Palace 0, Arsenal 2, the score here in the first leg of this Coca-Cola Cup semi-final. Winners over 2 legs get through to Wembley. Winners there, of course, get a place in the UEFA Cup. So they're really big stakes to play for here. Winterburn playing it in again towards Wright. A mistake there by Sinnott, he corrected it, but then the ball nonetheless goes straight to Hillier. Dixon. So one-sided at the moment, you feel sometimes you ought to count the yellow shirts. Merson. Shaw with the throw. That's a goal kick.
just trying to think. I know it's difficult with Coleman. I can't think of once in the first half when Palace have played a ball that's turned the Arsenal defence, you know, and had them facing their own goal. But that's going to be extremely difficult with, as I say, just the one up the field.
Sinnott knocking it forwards.
I mean, if there is an air of doubt about the Arsenal defence, it is little things played through them. Anything played through them gives possibly Linighan and Adams problems. When they love it when they're just fronting the game up and just coming on and cleaning out headers and things. Their problems start when balls are played just behind them. I mean, I bet Lee Dixon stood in like 50 yards of space, isn't he? I bet he's had harder practice games.
Yes, as you widen out on that picture there, we didn't have time to do it, but if you'd widened out, he's probably got, as you say, 30 or 40 yards all around him. Well, now he's got to close in on Lee Sinnott. Sinnott knocking it forward towards Osborne, but Osborne half beaten in the air by Linighan. Jeff Thomas picking it up, and then just nicked away there very comfortably indeed by Hillier. And here's young Ian Selly, the boy from Chertsey. Chip in the back it was, no, but Palace get possession and keep it, then they lose it as Osborne is challenged by Adams. Dixon to right.
Yes, I mean, we've talked about the shortcomings of the Palace, but to be fair, we've got to give Arsenal a load of credit. They've really exploited the problems Crystal Palace have got.
Oh, what a nice touch there. Great touch there by Campbell. And Merson off on one of those spectacular hunts of his. That time his right foot shot rifling over that crossbar. What a lovely little touch by Campbell.
Oh, this is brilliant. Great little ball in. And because the lad's scoring goals and has scored spectacular goals, he feels it every time he can crack a goal from anywhere now. That's confidence.
Here's Wright. And Goldrick with him. Linighan. Adams. Winterburn. 1 minute of the first half left. Campbell. Hillier. Will Campbell get to that? Will Merson get to it? Will Campbell get to it or Wright get to it? Suddenly everything seemed to be on and then the flag went up. And Palace breathed a sigh of relief with the free kick to be taken by Nigel Martin, their goalkeeper. What's frightening also, Ron, having a little chat there but while we're waiting for the teams to be announced in the corridor on the other side there. David O'Leary, Martin Keown, John Jensen. I mean, the people who are not in the Arsenal side today, I mean, it is such a formidable squad now.
Yes, but if you look at their performances this season, the problems Arsenal have had this season is when the teams have gone at them or taken the game to them. You know, crowded them in midfield, put pressure on the likes of Hillier, and I mean, they've got a young boy, Skelly himself, playing in there. You know, some sort of pressure on him, but he's had a nice free ride all afternoon.
McGoldrick with the free kick again for Crystal Palace. Hit towards Andy Thorne on the far side. It's Smith with the header away. Helped on by Merson. Knocked back again by Shaw. And Barry can't keep it in play. It's a throw to Arsenal.
The other alternative, you know, and Steve obviously knows the players he's got available, might be to play two players wide. To push two players wide on top of the Arsenal full-backs and just leave Coleman up the middle and then have his three midfield players.
Linighan.
You see, invariably when Dixon receives it, the first man out to him is Lee Sinnott. And with all the will in the world, Brian, he's not going to really exploit a flank position.
And here come Palace with Thomas. Played well there to find Sinnott. Coleman's down the flank for him. Sinnott couldn't find him. Thomas again.
I think they're going to need Big Thomas to reproduce something of the form he showed a couple of years ago when he seemed to be marauding and flying into the opposition's penalty box and getting his foot and head to everything. He's going to try and pull one of those out the locker from somewhere.
Well, it'll not only unsettle Arsenal if he could, it would certainly inspire the rest of the men in red and blue. Because he can be on his day a really inspirational figure, Jeff Thomas. That is
something that Palace at the moment badly need. That's the half-time whistle, and what an excellent first half for Arsenal in the first leg of this Coca-Cola Cup semi-final, to be 2 up in the first 20 minutes. The Ian Wright penalty after he was pulled down by Eddie McGoldrick, and Wright himself took the penalty, and then 10 minutes after that, on the 20-minute mark, Wright was through again. The goalkeeper Nigel Martin just managed a clearance, but it fell straight for Alan Smith, who whopped it back into the back of the net to make it 2 for Arsenal, and a huge job ahead now for Crystal Palace. Half-time then, it's Crystal Palace 0, Arsenal 2. Well, they've made one substitution. Grant Watts, the young striker, is on. I think it's Lee Sinnott, the left back, who's gone off. Watts, who scored, in fact he's only had 4 starts, 2 of them in the Coca-Cola Cup, and he scored both against Liverpool and against Chelsea, so he's got a special liking, a lad from Croydon, a special liking for this competition. Goodness, Palace could do with one of his goals now. They put Simon Roger, it looks, at left back at the moment, and Richard Shaw is also on the left-hand side, and McGoldrick now is at right back, so they've made quite a few changes in that half-time interval. So Ron Atkins will have a word about that in a moment. Here's Roger on the far side, up to Bobby Bowery, not forward again towards Grant Watts. Couldn't quite dispossess Linnigan. Smith ducking in with a header and was caught there by Young.
I think they've given Richard Shaw and McGoldrick, I think, have swapped roles. I think Richard Shaw is going to be given the responsibility of man-to-man marking Ian Wright. McGoldrick's coming out into a right-sided flank position. Obviously, as a right full-back, I would guess, with instructions to push on as much as he can.
Dixon with the kick to Wright on the far side, shadowed by 2 players, Shaw and Roger.
Yes, they've gone to a two-man strike force now. Watts is coming.
Watts is up alongside Coleman, which will help them, and certainly will help Coleman. Smith, back to Dixon. Selly and Hillier. Shaw with a header. Osborne didn't get a touch on it, but has now. And is fouled, and it's a free kick to Palace.
Showed a bit of lack of confidence there, didn't you? I thought Nigel Martin actually might have called for Shaw just to knock that ball back in the air, back to him with his head. But no communication, and he really kept the pressure on him.
What they've also done is they put Simon Roger, here he is on the ball now, wide on the left-hand side, Ron.
Yes, I think they're going to go with the two basic central defenders now again, Young and Thorne. Use Shaw as a mark, and then say to Osborne and McGoldrick, try and push on as much as you can and build up pressure, and try and make something happen. You know, even if it's some sustained pressure, even to get the crowd lifted, because actually Arsenal have done the supreme thing. They've actually murdered Palace, and they've also quietened the Palace crowd.
Smith's touch, Bowery hits it straight at Winterburn. Not wide for Merson. Being confronted here by Jeff Thomas. Campbell being confronted now by goes for the corner off McGoldrick. Merson will take it again. Once more Linnigan has taken up a position at the near post. Adams waiting obviously at the far post area for any flick on. Merson knocking it in, but that time it was a good header by Andy Thorne. Straight to Merson again, curled in once more, quite comfortably by Martin, and the throw out to McGoldrick. Throw to Arsenal. Bowery. To Watts. Thorne hitting it forward again. Linnigan quite content to let that go into touch for a throw to Arsenal.
Yes, it's a bit of an unenviable situation going in at half-time, 2 down against one of the best teams in Europe, or certainly one of the best strike forces in Europe, and then looking and finding that what I'm just counting now. I think we've got 5 kids who are around about the 20 mark, haven't we? Palace.
That's quite right. Martin knocking it forward, chested down by Adams to Winterburn. Osborne. He's flying a little deeper now, Osborne. Here's Roger. Shaw. Towards Thomas.
That's actually Palace's best move of the game.
It's Coleman. Oh, goodness, Watts was in a good position there, but it was also beautifully read by Tony Adams. There's an Arsenal player down on the far side, Paul Merson, I think it is. You say that was the best Palace move so far?
Yes, they linked it up a little bit in midfield, then hit a forward ball behind to turn the Arsenal defence, and nearly got some rewards out of it. That's the position he likes to be in. Thomas has obviously just caught Merson, or Merson may have twisted as he's fallen down. From this throw-in, they've got as close to scoring a goal as they've done all match.
So hat-trick came in a 4-1 victory here last season. So Osborne with the corner for Crystal Palace. Gone by Thorne. Adams showing himself big and strong to get the header away. And then it came off Thorne again for the goal kick.
Yes, certainly the way they've set out in terms of the team formation looks more promising. It looks as if they're able to commit people forward more. Obviously, they've got to accept the fact that the likes of Wright and Campbell can always make sprints from the halfway line and cause them all sorts of untold damage. But they've got nothing to lose anyway, because basically the game's gone beyond them if they can't claw something back.
Dixon up to Smith. Jabbering challenge in the back that time from Andy Thorne on Alan Smith. Free kick to Arsenal. Smith. Dixon. Hillier. And it just looped out of play. It'll be a goal kick. Roger knocking it on. Linnigan getting it clear for Arsenal.
It still looks very much as if Jeff Thomas has got a certain responsibility with Merson, but by the same yardstick, you know what? Paul Merson's a super midfield player in possession. He's not a great tracker, and I would feel that Jeff Thomas could make runs off the back of him if they can get the ball forward into the front players early enough.
Young up there for that one. Linnigan makes the clearance.
There's a lot more passion about the game now, isn't it? You can feel it in the crowd. Even the crowd feel something might happen. Whereas first half, it just seemed as if they accepted the fact that Arsenal were going to take them to the cleaners.
Coleman, Bowery, for the touch. Watts the throw, penalty. Adams brought him down, and Adams will get a yellow card, I think, because it looked to me as though he pushed at the referee. And, well, it was a rash thing for, just now we can't see it with that slow motion there, but certainly Adams...
He's actually won the ball. Now, I wonder whether John Martin's given that for the little tangle of legs, or for the arm. He actually had his arm across Watts as he made contact. But he did did actually, in his challenge, he's actually hooked the ball away from the kid and then got tangled up with him.
Palace's record with penalties this season has been terrible.
I've seen them missed on this ground before.
Simon Osborne, number 7, with the responsibility of clawing something back for Crystal Palace in this cup semi-final. He's done it. Now that will open up a few possibilities. That will get the Palace fans on their feet and roaring. And that will give this young side just a glimmer of chance against this Arsenal machine. Good penalty, taken without nerves, sending Seaman the wrong way. And Palace are back in business.
It's amazing what's happened, isn't it? All they've done really is charged forward. And they've made things happen. I mean, from a game point of view, now that's brilliant.
I was so looking at the confrontation between the referee and Tony Adams. Your feeling was that it was a bit unjust as a penalty, Ron.
The only thing was, if the referee had judged him to have done it with his arm in his first challenge, I actually think Tony Adams won the ball when he went to ground. But I mean, don't forget the referee hasn't got the advantage we've got of looking at that action replay. And it must have looked not too dissimilar to the right challenge, the right penalty in the first half. I actually don't think it was a penalty, but I can understand why John Martin's given it.
Right, let's see what Palace can do about it now. Young Bobby Barry with the throw for them, finding Coleman. Now listen to the Palace fans. Barry again with the throw. Finding Shaw. Knocked in once again. And a corner. Thomas was in a very dangerous position there, right on the edge of the penalty, on the edge of the 6-yard box, Ron.
Just going to say, that was the significant thing, and has been this half. Thomas has started to charge. Now, sometimes if players just run forward, you never know what happens.
Well, here comes a corner. Noted in there. It's a good jump that time by Linnigan. But here's Barry. Suddenly the loose balls are being picked up by Palace players. Young Bobby Barry finding McGoldrick. Winterburn getting it away. Loose ball picked up here by Shaw. Got wide for McGoldrick, just kept in play by him. Down the line again, here's Thomas once again. Watts is in the middle, Coleman's in the middle too. Just too high, the flag was up in any case for an offside, probably against Chris Coleman. But Thomas is making a difference now in this second half. Here's the challenge again for the penalty.
See, he's actually hooked the ball. To me, I think it's very, very unlucky to have had a penalty against him there. I mean, he's actually got the ball. There is a suggestion that his arm may have gone across young Watts in the first place, but I don't think John Martin's given it for that. He's given it, he believes he's adjudged him to have pulled him down. He's adjudged Adams to have pulled the guy down. I think Adams has won the ball there.
Roger. That's a ball towards Watts. Slipped back almost nonchalantly there by Adams. Here's Winterburn. It feels more like a cup tie now. Winterburn knocking it forward. Smith chasing and hounded this time by Young. Well, that's been very un-Arsenal-like. The ball was played straight to a Palace player. McGoldrick beating his man down the line towards Watts. Adams again in control.
Yeah, but what's happened all of a sudden, all that time, all that space they had in the first half, Arsenal to be comfortable and ease the ball about, now all of a sudden it's hotting up round them. They're having to move quicker, and they're being oh, I'm just going to say
Here's Campbell. Wright's waiting in the middle. Other men are coming up fast. Young, Merson, the whistle had gone. The flag actually stayed down. It was a refereeing decision there.
Ooh, Eric Young would have shot himself if that had been a goal, though. He had time just to put that in row 10 if he wanted.
An indirect free kick to be taken by Nigel Martin. Now just listen to the Arsenal fans. It looks, it feels, and it sounds much more like a cup tie now. And that's a foul by McGoldrick on Campbell. And that's a free kick for Arsenal. Winterburn with the kick. Paul Merson. Little jinking run, and he finds Nigel Winterburn again, who's gone round Osborne. Hillier ducking in with a header. Here's Merson again. And across the face of that goal, two went for it. Selly was one, Wright was the other, and the ball skidded wide of the far post.
I think there's a bit of a problem with Jeff Thomas. As all that play was developing around this area, Jeff Thomas actually should have gone with him the other offside. Thomas was crouching down as if he's either hurt his elbow or he's got some sort of physical problem.
So close to number 3 for Arsenal, but as it remains, 2-1 to them. Free kick now to Arsenal. Smith, Winterburn, Grant Watts tracking him back and concedes the corner. Merson will take it. Linnigan's at the near post. Smith, another 6-footer at the near post. Wright's making a little dart one way, then the other. Goes deep towards McGoldrick. Campbell was arriving late for that one. They claim a handball. I think the referee's given a goal kick.
Yeah, it's more like a cup tie now, isn't it? There's some passion about the thing now. Well, Arsenal must now be wondering what Crystal Palace have sent out. They won't believe it's the same team that went in before the interval, because there's a fire and a drive about them now.
Watts, I presume, making it back for Adams. A free kick to Arsenal. Thorne gets it away. Merson. Oh, nice turn there by Thomas. Then losing, trying far too much. Merson takes it on board. Goal kick.
No, that's not Jeff Thomas's game, is it? As you say, opened it up nicely for himself, and the next ball should have been into the front people and turned the Arsenal defenders round. I admire a lot of his qualities, but dribbling past 3 or 4 players in the closest range is one of them.
Watts battling with Adams, Smith, Campbell, Winterburn backtracking. McGoldrick couldn't control it. Smith trying to get Campbell in. Wright's busying himself in those forward areas, of course. And here's Barry. The break is on for Palace. He's got Coleman up alongside him. He's got Roger away on the left. He didn't pick up Roger, but he's picked up Simon Osborne. Now Roger. Deep cross. Easy for Seaman.
As once or twice in the first half, Barry suggested he's got a very, very good burst from midfield, and there was one there. He couldn't quite just control it. I shudder to say it, Ian Wright seems to have gone considerably quieter since Shaw's got round him. Whether that might just be the case of
They say he only touched the ball 4 times up at Leeds the other night and scored twice. They used to say that about Jimmy Greaves, didn't they? Always a danger. You daren't take your eyes off him for a single moment.
I bet Eddie McGoldrick was glad of the wrestler, because he did take him some miles in that first half.
Dixon with the free kick. Floater in towards Smith. McGoldrick got the header away. Barry hooking it up towards Watts. Immediately confronted by Winterburn, but he's beaten Winterburn. This is a great run by Grant Watts. And now they found McGoldrick in some space. Will he try a shot? He surely will now! Across the face of the goal and behind. Palace quite unrecognisable from the timid side that looked to be accepting defeat in the first half. Suddenly they came out like lions in this second half.
I must confess I fancied him from here, Eddie McGoldrick. Although Dixon's got a good covering position on the line, I had a feeling he might have just tucked that one inside the far post. But prior to that, you know, they cleared a loose ball out Palace and they got Watts up the field, who was in a position where he could hold the ball up and make something happen. Whereas first half, that would have gone straight to an Arsenal defender.
Roger. Hop forward for Coleman. Stopped by Livingston.
He'll be a lot happier, Coleman now. Someone to share the load means he's only got to run in half the pitch.
Barry with the throw. Roger. Little touch for Young. Palace 1, Arsenal 2. Coming up to 20 minutes of the second half gone. Free kick to Arsenal for the foul on Ian Wright. Dixon's free kick.
Campbell's going for this one. And it's gone in. Smith will claim it. Campbell had a part in it, but it's number 3 for Arsenal.
I think if the Palace lads look at this again, they'll be a bit sick here. They've left McGoldrick isolated over on the back stick here against Campbell, and most of the Arsenal free kicks have actually been aimed for Campbell against whoever's right back. Jeff Thomas is there static. I just wonder whether if Jeff Thomas had gone in and taken Campbell, whether that goal might have been prevented. But once again, full marks to Arsenal. Set play, they've charged it in, and as you say, Smith's going to claim that one, that's for sure.
Well, it was Smith's touch without any doubt. It's Campbell who's injured and needing some treatment. 65 minutes gone. And really, you feel that maybe is a goal that Arsenal might have needed after all, Ron, because Palace were coming back at them with great ambition, and their hopes were building all the time.
Yeah, very much so. Very much so. I mean, Palace are, as you say, a totally different team in terms of commitment, really, and belief. Belief's probably the biggest word. I think they gave them too much respect. Definitely gave Arsenal too much respect first half. Now, who knows? They can push for another goal. 3-2 isn't the worst result in the world. It's a mountain, but I mean, at least it would mean they've just got to go there and say, OK, can we beat Arsenal? But a 2-0 or two goals the difference. They really haven't got much of a prayer.
Seaman, and Kevin Campbell ready to come back on the field on the far side. Goldrick. Thorne underneath this one. Roger. Looking it forward. There's a foul on him. On young Ian Selly. Free kick to Palace.
This looks as if Jimmy Carter's being given the nod, doesn't it? So that'll be a straight flank player. I mean, because Campbell's basically spent all his time as a flank player in the game. If he is coming up, that looks as if that'll just be a one-for-one there. Oh, he's coming back across this side of the field now, Campbell. He's staying away from the trainer's bench. He doesn't want to get the nod. He'll ignore them. He's enjoying it now. He'll ignore them now.
Smith. Merson couldn't quite get the ball, and it was Thorne in the end who knocked it away up towards Coleman.
Roger. Played into Barry. Up to Coleman. Dixon with Arsenal's throw. Smith. Adams to Winterburn. There first. It's a goal kick.
I think we've talked about Wright, and we've talked all about the eye-catching players, the Mersons and people like that. I would think George Graham would probably say at the end of the day, yeah, here we go again, Campbell going and forcing the issue. There's the little touching goal. I think at the end of the day, George Graham will say Hillier is his man.
Yes.
He's supported play, he's made little angles, he's always been available. He's done more than his fair share of winning the ball.
Here's Barry. Roger. It's normally a good crossover ball, but not on that occasion. It was hit far too firmly for Grant Watts, and it'll be a throw to Arsenal. Boy from Sussex. Winterburn gets it away. Campbell. Cranstock did a wonderful job here when you think about it. With Wimbledon having played here yesterday against Leeds, they worked until something like 9 o'clock last night on it, and we're back here at dawn almost this morning. Pitch has played extremely well. It's a goal kick for Arsenal.
I wonder whether they're just reflecting on Eddie McGoldrick here, just prior to the goal when he cut through and narrowly missed that left foot shot. He quite conceived of within 2 each,
2-2, I say.
Which would have been one of the great comebacks of all time, I would guess.
By him as well. Selly. Short getting it away. I think it must have been an assault by Coleman probably on Selly there after the ball had gone. The referee wants... Well, it's Barry he's calling to him. John Martin is saying that it was pointing to an incident over near the touchline, then the incident here, so it's had his eye on Bobby Bowery, and he gets a yellow card. Toledo had a couple of reserve games for Arsenal, believe it or not, about 16 months ago. Then came here, made his debut in the Coca-Cola Cup against Liverpool, of all things. Growing up very quickly indeed. Falling straight to McGoldrick. Winterburn kept it in play. Alice stood and watched, and Smith ran and collected the ball. There's the long cross in. Wright, if he hadn't slipped, might have made something of that. Instead, it's Shaw getting it away to Roger. Knocked forward down that line for Coleman to chase. Linnigan's there in pole position. Played in, though, for Seaman to knock it out again. The flag up for an offside against Ian Wright. Referee quite rightly allowing the game to go on. Palace nicely in possession. And a poor ball in that time by Simon Roger.
To be fair, Brian, I actually think he expected Jeff Thomas to go and attack that space, you know, when he teased it in there, Simon Roger. But I've got a feeling that Jeff Thomas, who started the half very, very well, I've got a feeling he's suffering a bit physically. He hasn't looked comfortably over about the last 10 minutes of the half. He certainly hasn't been anywhere near as explosive as he was early on in the after the interval.
Coleman with a header, picks up Watts, tries to bring Osborne into the game. Goldrick, cut out by Adams. Winterberg. Yes, you're right, Jeff Thomas is labouring, isn't he?
I mean, there was an attack there, and I'm thinking, go on, fly in the box, Jeff Thomas. And actually, he took a holding position in midfield.
Watts gets it back to McGoldrick. Coleman, Osborne. Coleman, shot charged down by Hillier. Ball very conveniently straight to Kevin Campbell for Arsenal.
Look at the run that Dixon's making on that right-hand side. Couldn't quite gather up the ball.
Oh, it's a loose ball from Campbell. I bet Dixon's well pleased. 70.
Dixon might have something. No, it's offside.
Oh, I'm going to say, I bet he's well pleased. He's run 70 yards, a top sprint, and Campbell really should have just played a nice little ball into his run. And I tell you what, he'd been stitched on for another goal chance there. Was an untidy pass from big Kevin Campbell.
3-1 then to Arsenal in the first leg of this Coca-Cola Cup semi-final. Second leg to be played at Highbury on March the 10th. 15 minutes left. Wright gets it away. Only Smith is up. Bit of wrestling going on there. The referee Wright on the spot saw nothing. The linesman on the far side was flagging. Arsenal get possession. Merson now to Campbell. Selly to Campbell again, and a half stop there by Martin, but he did enough.
Yes, he's threaded a smashing little ball through there, young Selly, hasn't he? This is about the third shot. He hasn't really got hold of it. That's not a bad one. A good save from the keeper. But Kevin Campbell's had about 3 or 4 situations where he hasn't quite got hold of the ball. Hasn't quite given it the full gun.
First, slightly manhandled there by Andy Thorne. Balls Palace's way. It is Simon Roger. Knocked it wide for Watts. Looks a neat and confident young player. Whipping in that cross towards Coleman, and now for Thomas. Still Arsenal haven't got it away. Watts in there again. Coleman nicely on his chest. Can't get the shot in, and this time Arsenal do get it away. As far as Osborne. And now to McGoldrick. Now Palace looking for a second goal. And a sandwich there on Jeff Thomas, but the referee didn't feel that was serious enough. And Arsenal get it away after a little flurry of excitement. But here's Shaw again. Selly gets it away. Wright the first to show. And Martin the first to react. Watts. Been impressed by him, I must say. Everything he's done has had a neat and confident touch about it. Here's McGoldrick playing it in.
It's been bright, hasn't he?
Coleman. No, that was a bad ball. He needed just to play that and angle that for Thomas, who was coming in.
Yes, it's been very, very bright as Watts has been on the lively. He's run forward. He's made things happen. And I mean, that was the situation we saw earlier there with Jeff Thomas appearing in the middle of the box. And just on a good day, those are a goal, and you're back in the game, aren't you?
A throw then, which Simon Roger will take for Crystal Palace. Hillier. Stopped by Young. Dixon. Stopped by Watts on that side now. That's a good ball for Selly. Tried to get right in. Foul on Andy Thorne by Ian Wright. And some stick from the Palace fans is right. Same fans who used to salute him week by week. And now what will they do for Osborne? He crosses the ball in right across to the face of that goal again. Thomas just keeps it in play. No, it's gone out for the goal kick.
Coleman just couldn't throw himself at that, could he? I mean, that was a great ball here. He's played a superb ball across the face of the goal here. And go on, just can't connect with it. That's twice in the space of about 5 minutes they've nearly got themselves a goal.
Certainly these Palace youngsters, the likes of Watts and Osborne, Bowery, have really, and Roger also, have really begun to flourish in this second half. They're growing up very quickly indeed in this cup tie.
It's probably better as well when you've got kids, if you don't give them any fear or don't give them too much to think about. Just say, go out and have a go at them.
Arsenal's throw. Alan Smith leaving it to Nigel Winterburn.
It's also noticeable that most of Palace's best attacks have come down this side of the field. A lot of them instigated by McGoldrick when he's gone forward.
That's a corner. But having said all those things, there is such an assurance about Arsenal this afternoon, isn't it?
Yes, albeit not so much as there was in the first half. I mean, it was an absolute one-horse race, wasn't it? I mean, you always expect menace when they're coming forward.
Merson with the corner. Bowery couldn't really get it away. Needed the Roger header. And now Eddie McGoldrick. He's got Watts up alongside him. He's got Coleman in a lot of space on this side. Bowery on the far side takes it nicely on his chest. In for Grant Watts across the face of that Arsenal goal again, and they are stabbing at this Arsenal defence and just cannot find the touch that puts the ball in the back of the net. And it's still Palace 1, Arsenal 3.
Yes, I mean, this is a nice little setting up ball there from Bowery, and maybe he might have taken a little bit more time on it. Watts, you know, he may just have given himself a chance, steadied himself a little bit more. Good ball up here across field from Coleman.
Bowery does well here.
Yes, superb skill, and a nice little layoff, and they're not the easiest balls when they're coming across you like that to jab.
Osborne.
Shaw certainly looked happier marking than McGoldrick did. It certainly seemed more natural to him. I mean, when he's played in the fullback positions, they often used to do that, didn't they? Switch him to mark whoever was the flying machine on the other team.
Here's Winterburn. And it was Eric Young who put it away. Corner. Finnegan attacking this one. It was Young who got his head to it and got it away. Up to Watts. He's let that run too far. Dixon was waiting for that. But an offside flag against, I fancy, Kevin Campbell. Goldrick's header. Watts playing it in for Osborne. Adams away. Bowery. Went through the challenge by Campbell. Goldrick. Oh, you don't go through a challenge like that, and Winterburn is going to get a yellow card. Crowd are shouting off, but it won't be that. He was sent off, of course, against Liverpool a week ago. I don't know why you need to make that challenge quite as rashly in that sort of position.
Yeah, it's impetuous, isn't it? I mean, as you say, particularly bearing in mind what happened to him last week.
Yellow card for Nigel Winterburn. Two subs warming up, Jimmy Carter and Steve Morrow. Goldrick with the free kick, driven towards Young. Knocked it in there towards Jeff Thomas. It's out of play. It's a Palace throw. It's kept in play by Watts. Here's McGoldrick. No in a red shirt there. But here's Barry. No, got a little excited and it bobbled between his legs. It's not wide by Osborne now for Roger. Plays it into the middle again, but he was falling as he played it in and couldn't direct it accurately towards Thomas and Coleman.
Yes, but he was very unlucky there, wasn't he? He just couldn't get round the ball to pull it back into the strikers' runs.
So Arsenal about to make a double substitution. It's going to be made now. Just one. No, Ian Wright is going off. I wonder if he's picked up a knock. I wonder if we can find out why it is he's gone off. And it's Steve Morrow who's come on.
I wonder whether they're going to put Morrow and said, look, you know, we think we've won the game virtually 3-1. Let's make sure now Jeff Thomas doesn't make anything happen, because he looks as if he's going to latch straight onto him, doesn't he? Morrow's a natural defender, you know, whether they say, all right, you just go and make sure Thomas doesn't do us any damage.
Well, I understand it's a tactical change. No injury involved. McGoldrick. Thomas. Played in by Osborne and played in very well too, as towards Coleman. Knocked in again there by Barry. Merson now just retreating to take this ball. He's having some trouble with Barry. Osborne. Thorne. And that's going to be easy for David Seaman.
It also means, of course, that Shaw can go into a more orthodox fullback position now, and it enables Palace to push extra players forward. And Shaw's been relieved of his man-marking job with Ian Wright.
It's an Arsenal throw.
Yes, Morrow's definitely got the limpid job, sticking touch tight with
Thomas. Just over 4 minutes left. To name the man of the match, Ron.
Well, it's certainly going to be an Arsenal player, that's for sure. And there's any number of contenders, this kid on the ball. I mean, certainly on the first half display, Ian Wright just walked it, because he was phenomenal first half. I think Shaw, in all fairness, did a great job in his second half.
But I think also Wright coming back here, where it was all right, he's got a great affection for Palace, but also there could be certain difficulties as well for him facing the fans who used to love him and so on.
Yeah,
he survived all that and did so well.
Oh,
it was his penalty.
Yeah, first half he was brilliant, but you know, I think Waddy Gullis had a good game. As I say, I think only one of the Arsenal players could have won it, but I like some of the things I've seen Merson do today. I mean, he's one that lights you up, isn't it, when he gets the ball? Ian Wright's the same, but you do get that little extra lift when Merson gets it. You always think something's going to happen. So, on the very basis of that, I would give it him.
To Paul Merson.
To Paul Merson, yeah. Only because I'm biased, I do like the way he plays.
Well, here's Osborne. Do Palace like the way he plays? Here's Thorne up with the attack now. Played short for Coleman. Knocked in by him. Almost through to Osborne, and Linnigan in the end kept his nerve. Did a half shimmy. Found Lee Dixon with an excellent pass. Smith, Hillier, Campbell, knocked away by Watts, but it's Smith. Well, his first touch for once let him down there, when he was really, suddenly a hat-trick was looming in front of him.
Oh, his control had been right. He must have been stitched on for a hat-trick.
Selly. Smith losing it this time to Young, and now to Thorne.
just shows, you know, even in this half, it could have been so different, couldn't it?
They're running at people, they're taking them on.
I think on the balance of chances this half, probably Palace have had better chances. But I mean, first half was a complete one-horse race. So all credit to Palace in that respect. They have at least they've made a game of it. I mean, I dreaded to think what might have happened if it had continued the way it went.
So just to reiterate, Ron Atkinson's man of the match, Paul Merson of Arsenal. We're inside the final minutes.
Into the path of Merson. Needed a good save by Martin,
But what a great late run again by Paul Merson. Thomas.
You know, I'm glad for Palace's sake that didn't go in. At least they have got, all right, the barest of lifelines, but at least they may have one to go to Highbury.
Winterburn. I think you're being a little generous, actually, Ron. I think Arsenal have probably done as much as they need in many ways to get themselves a Wembley place here this afternoon.
Oh yeah, they would have settled for a draw, I believe, before the match started. But I mean, at 4-1, they might as well not make the journey, really, might they? But you never know. You never know. I wouldn't like to put money on it, of course.
So Arsenal conflab over this free kick to Winterburn, up to Hillier. Formalities of the last few seconds now. Arsenal leading 3-1. Hillier, Murray trying to break them up. Selly gets it back to Adams. Play towards Merson. One minute of time added on, already been played. Dixon up to Smith. Football now for Arsenal as Winterburn goes past Watts onto that left foot.
They've actually played a very good passing game for most of the game, haven't they, Arsenal? Albeit under little or no pressure.
Referee's check with both linesmen. There goes the final whistle, and a mighty step towards Wembley have been taken by Arsenal here this afternoon with this victory by 3-1 in the first leg of this Coca-Cola semi. George Graham will be delighted, certainly on the first half form of his side, and also the way that they responded when Palace came back at them with that goal at the start of the second half. Alan Smith with 2 goals, one of the Arsenal heroes, after Ian Wright back here at the Palace had scored on the penalty spot with just 10 minutes gone. And Palace, who certainly battled well their young side, but certainly in the first half was so long outclassed. Simon Osborne gave them a lifeline with that penalty early in the second half. And indeed, there were a few moments also in their second half when that ball went skating across the Arsenal 6-yard area for the want of a touch to play at home. But Arsenal again responded and are now saluting their fans as they are saluted by them. And you feel that the second leg at Highbury, according to all form, could be little more than a formality. Ian Wright there, substituted near the end. As David Hillier, another of the unsung heroes really in this Arsenal side. So Palace then find disappointment. They've never been to this stage of the competition before, and now they've been beaten 3-1. Let's have a word with Alan Smith.
Alan, well, what a game. I mean, you couldn't have thought you were going to win 3-1 before the kick-off.
No, we were hopeful, you know. I mean, we always seem to do well at Palace, but on the day we played really well.
Now, what about this combination with Ian Wright? I mean, that's what sealed it in the first half when it really mattered.
Well, I mean, Ian did brilliant. He created the penalty and finished it, and then he created my goal as well, going through, and Nigel Martin hit it back to me. So, he created both first goals.
You haven't scored so many goals since he's been there, but it's important to point out you're a target man these days.
Yeah, well, it's not Ian's fault, you know. No, I mean, I try and work hard, and no, the goals haven't been going in this year, but, you know, I've had a couple in 2 games now, so keep my fingers crossed.
OK, now, Ian, were you brought off for tactical reasons?
Oh no, the boss just brought me off for whatever reason. I'm not bothered. The main thing is just the team effort, innit, really.
But you had more room in the first half. You were man-marked in the second half.
Yeah, well, I thought I was man-marked in the first half of Eddie McGoldrick, but that's here or there, you know. We had to do a job and we came in and done it. All credit to Palace. They battled one in the second half, but, you know, it was a bit too strong for me in the end.
OK, it's a super position to be in. Well done.
Thanks very much, Gav.
Thank you, guys.
Good night, man.